यासिर एंड अब्बास both of them are मैं समझता हूँ कि हमारी जो आईटी इंडस्ट्री है ना, टेक्नोलॉजी इंडस्ट्री, उसके अंदर बहुत से मुख्तलिफ लोग हैं जो अपना नाम और अपना क्रेडिबिलिटी मनवा ली ओवर द ईयर्स, और कुछ ऐसे हैं जो कि कॉन्ट्रोवर्शियल फिगर्स भी हैं, जो कुछ लोग समझते हैं ये रियल है, फिर समझते हैं नहीं रियल है। कुछ लोग हैं जिनको लोग मानते ही नहीं है कि वो रियल है, क्या है, ये वो स्टोरी नहीं है, बस वो पता नहीं क्या है। कुछ लोग अपने आप को they claim that they are the ones who built this वगैरह वगैरह। I will not go into anything controversial here, but तो सबका अग्रीमेंट होता है ना, जिन 2-3 लोगों में, उन 2 लोग आपके सामने बैठे हैं, इसमें सबको लगता है कि their stories, their effort, their struggles and their knowledge is as real as it can be. तो I think आप लोग आज इनसे सवाल भी कीजिएगा, कुछ सवाल आप मुझे मिल गए हैं मेरे फ़ोन में, मैं साथ छोड़ दूँगा, मैं पूछता भी रहूँगा, और जो सवाल आप लोग आप ज़रूर पूछिएगा, that's why you're here. And let's try and make this a more interactive and a useful, you know, experience for everyone. So before I give मैं इंट्रो दूंगा तो won't do justice. Quickly अगर आप लोगों से कह दूं कि यासिर, if you could maybe tell about what you've been up to, कहाँ से आप आए हैं, आप कितने privileged थे। बहुत से हमारे दोस्तों को लगता है हम बहुत privileged लोग होते हैं, usually they end up doing well in this country, right? So थोड़ा सा वहाँ से शुरू करें कि कहते हैं ना, अपने इलाके और गली और चक से शुरू करें थोड़ा सा कहानी को, और वही हाँ, और जल्दी से उसको 2 मिनट में बताएं सबको कि आप आए कहाँ से और आप यहाँ तक कैसे पहुंचे।
ठीक है, तो yeah, I'll try to keep it in 2 minutes. Thank you, Nabeel, for inviting me. Thank you all for being here. It's really a being here talking to you. यार मैं हमेशा अपने आप को इंट्रोड्यूस कराता हूँ एज अ वेटरन ऑफ द टेक इंडस्ट्री इन लाहौर। तो गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज के बाद वेंट टू यूईटी। इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग में उस जमाने में 6 साल लगते हैं, मैंने कहा 6 साल बहुत लंबे हो जाएंगे, तो यूईटी से छोड़ के लम्स, और फिर लम्स के बाद आई जस्ट बेसिकली डिड जॉब्स फॉर द फर्स्ट 10 years ऑफ माय करियर डिफरेंट टेक कंपनीज, एंड फॉर्चुनेटली और अनफॉर्चुनेटली, अब लगता है फॉर्चुनेटली, उस वक्त लगता था अनफॉर्चुनेटली, those companies kept shutting down for one reason or another, not because of me, I wasn't the reason that they were shutting down, but learned a lot from those companies. And in 2007 we started Arbisoft. Started it with 3 people. We will be inshallah 1,000 people by the end of this year. So we now consider ourselves one of the few mid-sized software companies in Pakistan. Pakistan में कोई large size software, large size में फिर you have the Tatas of the world, 2 lakh 4 lakh different league. So बस ये story, I think mainly still an engineer. Selling Abbas, one of our friends said कि यार वो engineers होते हैं, existential crisis. But I think that's the first introduction, and obviously as a software company. And for the last few years, Abbas and I have been doing a lot of investments together and looking at the whole startup ecosystem.
We'll actually particularly talking about that, because आज के discussion का core start हुआ था वो investments के लिए, and we will particularly talk about that. Us.
हाँ जी, मेरा ताल्लुक जो है एक छोटे शहर से, हैदराबाद से, मैं ग्रुप इन हैदराबाद से, सिमिलरली एज 70s के बाद पढ़ने के लिए बाहर गया, और वहाँ पर फॉर्चुनेटली वेब और वेब startups from engineering perspective. Spend a decade in engineering, run a few startups. ये कुछ माने थे। 2005 से मैं प्रोग्रेस लाहौर भी हूँ, मेरे वर्क टेक्नोलॉजीज नहीं यहाँ पर, और 2009 में started Conrad with a number of super smart people. How to build engineering teams, build products better. Yeah, okay. Last stint that was the scale area. Something else. Yasser is not, which following Yasser along is advice. Very stage. I think we should look at it.
And you've been investing in the middle also.
Just following Yasser's footsteps.
So I have, I have this like question. I'm not going to follow this for now. The common denominator was engineering. Right? So when a lot of people here are, and I think the ones listening on the internet also, would like to know how important is it for you to be a good engineer to build a good tech? Is it like a prerequisite? नहीं हो सकता उसके बगैर? Yet is this the right route to follow? If I'm not a good engineer, I should rather not go down that route. Both of you.
I think I have been very clear on this. मुझे लगता है कि engineering कोई prerequisite है, लेकिन rational thinking है, logical thinking, be able to reason things है, be able to kind of go beneath the surface of a problem and really solving it, really understanding it. All of those things matter. Engineering तो एक discipline है, आप सीख सकते हैं. आजकल तो मैं बल्कि लोगों को ये कहता हूँ, if I could find somebody who's a great philosophy major, और उन्होंने फलसफा अच्छे तरीके से पढ़ा है, I'd hire them and they proved to be great. In fact, there was a validation for this. I interviewed a guy. Real story आपको सुनाने लगा. 3 months ago, I interviewed a guy. 3 months ago, about 8-9 months ago. Interviewed a guy, तो हम वैसे ही बात कर रहे थे. मैंने कहा यार आपका, like I was interviewing him for a product manager position, right? I said, what's your pastime? Like, what do you do in your free time? Then मुझे फलसफा पढ़ने का बहुत शौक, philosophy का. I said कि अच्छा मुझे थोड़ी बहुत जब फिलॉसफी आती, मैंने कहा अच्छा मुझे आप मैनुअल प्लांट का कैटेगोरिकल इंपेरेटिव बताएं क्या. He explained it so well कि मुझे खुद थोड़ा सा अपने में शक लग गया यार मुझे कुछ नहीं आता. तो मैंने कहा आपको क्या पता है? उसने फिर कहा कि जी मैं आपको सुपरमैन बताऊं, सुपरमैन का कॉन्सेप्ट नीचे का. Like in 5 minutes I said yeah, there's nobody in my company who can explain these concepts, right? Good hire. And a lot of people told me कि आपने क्या hire किया. Like पिछले interviews के feedback बड़े बुरे थे. Yeah, long story short, it was a huge validation. The guy just got a fully funded admission, Harvard no less, in the PhD program, and he's already left for the US. So, point I'm making is कि अगर आपने psychology अच्छी पढ़ी है, आपने फलसफा अच्छा पढ़ा है, आपने literature अच्छा पढ़ा है, अच्छा पढ़ना जरूरी है. ये नहीं कि क्या पढ़ा है, लेकिन अच्छे तरीके से, सिर्फ surface के नीचे चला.
So it's not a prerequisite. But what about you? They might have a different opinion.
I think so. Opinion is similar, but I think problem solver होना चाहिए. Right? Fortunately, जो engineers हैं, वो they're builders. अगर आपके पास builder mentality है, or being able to try out new things and get to the market, I think it's probably if trained, coached properly, right? So from a builder to a creator, easy journey. Then from a creator to a builder, in my opinion, right? So that's why I see a lot of engineers. Different thought process है. पाकिस्तान की बात नहीं कर रहा, दुनिया भर में ये काफी successful रहे in terms of creating large ecosystems or lot of engineers. ये पैर मार्केट कर सकते हैं. So खैर हम बहुत diverse लोग थे. I mean, a lot of philosophy talk and
that's your take.
so yeah.
Another question, which is going to be on about the other way. लेकिन ये important है because शायद इस audience में भी ये सवाल आएगा. Because most of the people I think are techniques. We've both done services. I think Conrad has done that, right? And you've both done products. Technically, some form or shape. I know of some of the products. The people in this team also. I've been speaking. Pakistan की software export को बढ़ाने, products की तरफ move करना, as is policy, कि जी हमने अपनी product industry को बढ़ाना. Is it the right route? Or is it almost going to remain hybrid? या फिर bet हमेशा service पे रहेगा? If software export की बात, I'm focusing highly on that. हमारी अमाउंट में पहले छोटी सी GDP है हमारी, बहुत छोटी सी GDP. IT तो बहुत थोड़ी सी, but India compared different ball game. But it was more services based industry. सारा वही था BPO model and all that, which allowed me to sense सही our products नहीं है because now they're trying to Ali वगैरह वगैरह. What's your take? I mean, इस पे आप अपना opinion दोगे as people who have played major roles in the tech industry. 5 years from now, or say 10 years from now, what do you envision Pakistan's tech industry look like? Will it be product centric? Will it be services centric? Or will it be a mix of both? Or will we still be as confused as we are? Because I think we're very confused.
Services wala angle.
आप उसका हक में नहीं हो ना?
It's not like a hug menu. देखो, oh, that's mostly cost arbitrage, right? And it's a number. आपने बहुत large amount of talent produce करना है. आपको upskill करके जो sell करनी है at 2x or 3x of your current billable rate becomes high, and then your all the चीजें hit करनी है based on world and economic conditions. It's hard to change yourself. So there is no doubt you can go to 3, 4, 5x, right? If you really have to move the needle, think about 100, 200, 500x. There is no other option. You have to try now. You have to get more into SaaS, more digital SaaS, right? और हम पीछे हमें शायद अगले 5 साल में नहीं आएगी, but 10, 15, 20 साल में you will learn some of the templates, right? My neighbors have been here, right? We saw a lot of reverse exodus from people who build scaled businesses, come back, and then now they have a pretty large homegrown ecosystem, right? वो जो scale है, वो सिर्फ services से करना मुश्किल है. And I think it's not going to be just. I think we have to do both, right? Because we can't take all the services people and say, yeah, products are running. So I think the thing is that, different and more focus on product. Get to, so there should be a 5-year, 10-year plan. Literally, you are producing, hundreds of startups in SaaS, in digital, in-depth productivity tools. Right? And it takes time to build this. यहाँ पे आपको इन्वेस्टमेंट में काफी चाहिए, एंड में यू लर्न अ लॉट, राइट? पर उसका जो आउटकम है, राइट, वो कहीं पर try to selling talent, which I think we're now obviously we're seeing 2x growth year over year, but it's not going to get to 100x in the next 10 years.
Right. That's what take. If you guys will have any questions, please ask.
Yasser would have a different good take on it.
But हम अगर चाहे थोड़ी देर बाद हम सवाल आपसे भी लेंगे.
नहीं, I think I mostly agree. I think वो dichotomy नहीं है कि services और products. We have to do both. मुझे ये लगता है इस टाइम इंडिया में अगर आप देखें ना, पिछले कुछ सालों में हमने बड़े सेलिब्रेट किए स्टार्टअप्स. बायजूस अब नजर आता है क्रिकेट टीम के ऊपर, राइट? एंड these are like 10, 15, 20 million. It's great. लेकिन the fact is कि TCS, Wipro, Tata, but $20 million companies 20 years ago. दोनों जगह potential है. I think it's also about your risk profile. If you're a high risk, high return kind of a person, you should do products. If you're a low risk, medium return kind of a person. I think my readiness for doing great products, world class products, is not great, unfortunately. Our readiness for doing services is still.
Next part would be that. How do we increase the readiness? वो variables क्या हैं?
हाँ ठीक है, उसमें देखें we are by and large good engineers तो नहीं कहना चाहिए, लेकिन technicians भी नहीं मैं कहना चाहता because that's a slightly derogatory, right? लेकिन we are people who can do services because बहुत कोई high level of skill बना के दे देते हैं और creativity शायद बहुत ज़्यादा ही चाहिए, right? इस काम में, और you can be pretty unidimensional, right? And still be hope to be successful. मुझे लगता है successful products के लिए you need a lot more creativity चाहिए, product managers, you need visibility experts, you need people who can do market research, for example. तो काफी सारे factors वहाँ पे आ जाते हैं. तो मुझे ये लगता है कि अभी हमारे पास उन बहुत सारे areas में world class skills हैं, लेकिन world class पाकिस्तान में इंजीनियर्स बहुत सारे ऐसे होंगे जो कि अमेज़न में भी जाकर ज़बरदस्त इंजीनियर होंगे। पाकिस्तान में बहुत कम ऐसे डिजाइनर्स होंगे जो जैसे एप्पल होंगे। तो उसकी वजह है ना, उसकी वजह ये कि हम सारे लाइक आवर सिस्टम ट्रेन्स इंजीनियर्स, राइट? वी आर नॉट एनकरेज्ड टू गो टू आर्ट स्कूल्स। नहीं, तो हालांकि उसकी जरूरत है, like going to like a good art program, going to like a philosophy. हमारा focus इस पे होता नहीं है. And the people coming into tech and entrepreneurship are primarily people who've been trained in engineering disciplines, not necessarily the full. मेरा take ये है, I'm sure मेरा.
It's very interesting. आपने कहा यार, I have a couple of, but मैं आऊँगा उस तरफ बाद में. Because आप लोगों ने बात की है about product बनाना पड़ेगा तो उसकी investment चाहिए, right? Well, usually, if you want to scale up product, तो लोग यहाँ पे MVP पे पहुँच जाओगे और different teams पहुँच जाओगे. You guys both decided to, get into this space, angel investment. But we're called venture capital at this stage. Oh no, not at all, right? So let's keep it to that. You're very sensitive होते इस तरह की बात planning ऐसे. What are the, I mean, if you were choosing companies to work with in the capacity of a facilitator or investor, what were those criteria? People would like to know that. What were those criteria that you would look at, measure, and then take a decision? There might be several.
आप करेंगे?
There might be several.
I'm sure that'll be
देखिए, तो एक तो होता है ना आपकी ड्यू डिलिजेंस सर्विस लेवल है यार, आइडिया में दम है नहीं है, बिग इनफ मार्केट, फाउंडर क्यों कर रहा है, फाउंडर कौन है, पहले क्या किया हुआ है, टीम बिल्ड कर लेंगे नहीं करेंगे, ये सब कुछ चीजें हैं, कुछ लीगल कंप्लायंस वाली चीजें, राइट? क्योंकि मतलब ये एक बेसिक बेस लेवल है. There's something deeper than that, right? Which is typically what I go for. Why is the founder उसकी अपनी motivation क्या है? How motivated or driven he is to solve this problem, and what's the reason? Those are to me equally, or if not more important. भाग जाएगा पहले, जब डर खा के गिरेगा, भाग जाएगा, ईंट उठ पाएगा या उठेगा, कहेगा अच्छा भाई, let me go do another sprint 100 feet, right? Those are super critical. Why that founder, right? क्या वो लीडर है, क्या लोग उसकी बात मानेंगे भी, क्या वो चीजों अपने आप को स्केल कर पाएगा? Can he see himself? अच्छा यार, अगर मैं नहीं, कि कोई और बंदा आ जाए मेरा कर ले, but I'm going to solve this problem on the other, right? That's the level of selflessness you need to exhibit. If you just solve a problem, right? It doesn't matter what title you have, but your founders typically are driven to solve a problem, and that typically comes from not just I need to raise money and build a product, but it's like I have a need, and here's why, and I'll do whatever it takes. Typically I look for those factors.
Can you like quantify this? कहना तो बड़ा common fuzzy लगता है. He has the right why. He has the right why, but there is so many other things that come. Your requirement was to implement something, basically something. How do you quantify it as an investor? The why was great. And then how do you quantify it? How you can कर सकेगा? देखो team members दे दो तो वो क्या budget क्या होता है?
हाँ, देखिए उसमें ऐसा कि I did try to put this on as a whole rubric on paper कि यार ये ऐसे elementary है, ऐसे बात चीजें हैं, और frankly अब उसमें ना थोड़ा सा एक inherent जो internal struggle भी है. As an angel when you start you don't want कि मैं अब 8 महीने रहूंगा और सीधा 18,000 मीटिंग करूंगा, right? Because we've been there. We know कि यार as a founder I want to get started. I don't want to wait for 600 meetings, right? But at the same time, if you want to understand a person, and you it's a little bit like dating, right? You can't do this in the first date. You have to get to know the person a little better. So there is a balance there. So our job is to make sure how quickly can we arrive at that conclusion. Why? और वो ये चीजें राइट? वो ये चीजें हैं फाउंडर की कि अच्छा आपके पास क्या सुपर पावर्स हैं और क्यों, राइट? आपने जरूरी नहीं कि वो सीड एंटरप्रेन्योर हो, बहुत होते हैं, राइट? और लाइक यू नो दे आर गोइंग टू बी फर्स्ट टाइम को-फाउंडर, but why is that, right? Why is it that gives them an edge? वो उनकी पर्सनैलिटी में होता है, typically उनके नेटवर्क में होता है, right? You have to understand, right? Again, motivation you have to understand कि वो क्या कर रहे हैं. So you have to do due diligence in terms of यार, let's say somebody is fresh out of university, okay? Might want to talk to their batchmates and see इसके बारे में क्या ख्याल है. Was this person a douchebag? Or was this person a really driven person? Right? So आपको you have to do level of diligence. At the same time, you have to spend time with the founder. You see कि यार वो founder and the real test is not कि वो pitch हो रही है तो right? When you run into a problem, so you have to oftentimes you have to see a founder in a situation, tough situation, and see कि वो किस तरह से solve करता है. Yeah. So for us, we don't necessarily हम उसके लिए वो really reflect करते हैं, but we would like to. So it's those interactions that at least give us the confidence. Again, basically, what you say, is there a product that is there something that you know the founder would fall? And by the way, we also look at is something that we can add value to. Not just the founder, right? If we can add value, right, then we can at least tell him, we give him a few tips and pointers, right? Let's say वो भी हो गया, but end of the day, it is about the founder की अपनी conviction. And it doesn't matter whether Abbas and you know Yasser are coming in or not. I'm going to solve this, right? 100%. और वो किस तरह से कर रहा है? और then secondly, between interactions. Let's say मुझसे आज मिला, हफ्ते बाद मिला, 2 हफ्ते बाद मिला. What has he done? Right? If the person has done nothing, right? You know कि वो फिर शायद 2 महीने के बाद कुछ नहीं होगा, right? And done may not mean कि जी surface level, but yes, have you thought about it, solve the problem. So we look at those things to before we say how this is a good founder. Go after rough around the edges, say it, but company is also coachable. Very important as well. How coachable is the person? When we agree on something, it's okay to disagree and we go separate ways. When you agree on something, आप कह रहे हैं हाँ यार ये मैंने करना है, और फिर आप आगे दोस्त कहते हैं मैंने नहीं किया, मैंने करना था कि नहीं किया. That's not a good indication. So वो आपको चीज़ पर
ये कितना इम्पोर्टेंट होता है कि जो let's say कोई मतलब मेरा ये मानना है रहा है कि अगर पानी बेचना चाह रहे हैं, पानी and I want to start selling water all around. He has no experience, relevant experience of selling water or something like that. How important is it with the restaurant? And get relevant experience in a particular domain matter that there's nothing to do with you investing in it. अभी आशिक नाम बता रहे हैं. की बारी आ गई.
देखिए, I mean, कुछ चीजें are difficult, right? Like when you talk about distribution, large scale distribution, I don't have any experience. It's tough, right? वो हमने माने खाके सीखा है. पहले कहते नहीं हाँ यार कर दो, बहुत अच्छा कर देगा, right? But the realities are different, right? You have to understand, you know, how आपकी supply chain works. You don't have zero experience with distribution, and now you're just predicting, yeah, I will capture 10% of the market in 2 years. Those are rude awake things, right? And at the same time, if you're an amazing salesperson, it's also like pani becho. Okay, maybe you're selling a pen and you're better at pen, and that is not a maybe that's a direct to sales market, and you're good at that. They do that, right? So we look at those factors to say कि हाँ यार, लेकिन उस केस पे founder अच्छा है, idea अच्छा नहीं है, he's not very successful. Then we try to tell the founder कि यार मेरे हिसाब से इसको भी देखो, इसको भी देखो, right? Ask us questions. But in my opinion, here are some of the things that you should consider before material plus आपने सोचा भी नहीं सारे, तो वो हम करते.
I think Abbas ने mostly cover कर लिया है. I also look at founder conviction is very important. कि कितने convinced है founder को. उसके मैं आपको example ये देता हूँ कि एक measure of के how do you measure कि कितना convinced है founder is the answer to the question what is this person willing to give up for this business. इसकी opportunity cost है. उसके मैं आपको example ये देता हूँ कि मेरी most recent आपके blurb में भी गलत. My most recent investment is a company called Pattern. I'm going to do some shameless plugs here. But Pattern की Pattern जो है it's a loyalty program for restaurants. लेकिन the thing is कि जो Pattern के 4 founders हैं वो सारे दस्तगीर में फाउंडिंग एक्टिविटी थी उनके पास, काम करते थे बहुत अच्छे, शुरू के फाउंडिंग एक्टिविटी थी, सिर्फ 25% वेस्ट हुई थी, 75% अनवेस्टेड। जब मेरे पास आए उन्होंने कहा यार ये हमने करना है यासर भाई, मैंने कहा यार थोड़ी एक्विटी वेस्ट का इंतजार कर लो, दस्तगी बहुत ऊपर जा रही है। उसके बाद उन्होंने अच्छा खासा बड़ा राउंड रेस किया, ये सेड नहीं ये बस आइडिया आया हुआ है, कुछ नहीं होता, लाइक इसको छोड़े हम इसको बनाएंगे। मेरे लिए इट्स लाइक यू नो यू विलिंग टू गिव अप समथिंग, दैट्स अ वेरी गुड मेजर फॉर मी कि यार आप कितने
बिल्कुल सही है।
there are other examples of that also. Here is very unpopular होगी, but was and I both when we met, वो उसने NCR में अपना MBA छोड़ दिया था, कि यार MBA क्या बाहर में इस वक्त ये करता है, तो एक founder conviction है, that's really important. The other thing again is when you're talking to a founder, just give me an example दे देता हूँ, you really want to know if they've studied the problem space. Most founders we know are just you know they just say मैं ये बनाऊंगा, आप प्रॉब्लम स्पेस के बारे में पूछना शुरू करते हैं तो कुछ नहीं पता। इसकी एग्जांपल अ कंपनी दैट आई शुड हैव इन्वेस्टेड इन recently but didn't because I just wasn't investing is a company called Raptor Games. I met the founder. He's probably the most knowledgeable person. आप ही बात करके देख लें on gaming in Pakistan. वो आपको exactly बताएगा पाकिस्तान में कितने लोग मोबाइल पे गेम्स खेलते हैं, कितना इस वक्त रेवेन्यू इकट्ठा होता है, उन गेम्स की नेचर क्या है, वो क्लासिफाइड किस तरह है, कहाँ वो रेवेन्यू जा रहा है, कौन से मेन गेम स्टूडियोज हैं, like any question you ask them about the industry, they have a very good answer, better answer than you and I can. ऐसे नहीं है कि उन्होंने बस उठा के डिसाइड किया यार मैं तो गेमिंग कंपनी में, that homework I think is just very convincing to me as well. अगर आपको ये लगे कि अगर उसको प्रॉब्लम का पता है ना तो सोल्यूशन को ही निकाल ही ले, अगर उसे सिर्फ सोल्यूशन का ही पता, प्रॉब्लम का नहीं पता तो सोल्यूशन नहीं चलेगा, ऑलमोस्ट 100% चांस है सोल्यूशन। अगर सिर्फ सोल्यूशन ही है, प्रॉब्लम का पता ही नहीं है, ना वैलिडेट किए, ना वेरीफाई किए, ना उसके नंबर्स पता है, ना टैम पता है, ना सॉन्ग पता है, कुछ नहीं पता, लेकिन सोल्यूशन से बड़ा प्यार है, बहुत मुश्किल है। The other thing, one of the things that the question that you asked is कि यार how important it is to have familiarity with that problem space.
Domain expertise.
Sometimes not having domain expertise is an advantage, because all of the people in the domain are trying to solve the problem from the same angle. मेरी सबसे पहली कंपनी हमेशा आ जाती है इसमें एग्जाम्पल में, तो खैर $50 मिलियन की कंपनी, जैसे मैंने पहले जॉब किया लाई, जिस बंदे ने बनाई जो सोल्यूशन लेके गया था, ऑफिस से मार्केट रिसर्च सारी की, उस डोमेन के लोग मानते नहीं थे, he basically created invisible aligners, right? So you take it to orthodontist, कहेंगे यार 500 साल से ऑर्थोडोंटिस्ट हैं, डेंटिस्ट्री प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, तो चल ही नहीं सकते। तो होती है ना इनोवेटिव एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, डिसरप्टिव इनोवेशन, उसमें not being from the same field is an advantage because you are not boxed into that thing different, you think different. लेकिन अगर आप एक प्रॉब्लम ऐसी पाकिस्तान में जो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप हो रही है वो ज्यादा वही हो रही है जो दुनिया में और सक्सेसफुल है, वहाँ पे ऑपरेशनली आपको लोग चाहिए कि जिनको ऑपरेशंस का पता हो। एयरलिफ्ट की एक बड़ी लेसन तो यही है, तो आर्टिकल पढ़ ली है कि यार ग्रेट कंपनी ग्रेट कल्चर, लेकिन वेयर हाउस में नहीं पता था कि क्या हुआ।
अब अभी एयरलिफ्ट का सवाल पूछना बड़ा पॉपुलर सवाल है, आई फील पूछना पड़ेगा, आप पाकिस्तान इसमें वो बाद में करेंगे मसाला क्वेश्चन, अभी मैं इतना बड़ा लिखिए सवाल पूछूं आप उसमें पॉलिटिकली करेक्ट आंसर दे दीजिएगा। अच्छा, इसमें जो क्वेश्चन मिला है बहुत ज्यादा रिपीट हो रहा है कि अब पहले ये वाला पूछते थे आप लोगों के लिए कौन सा वर्टिकल, let me give you an example of a friend. Say Kanji is a very old friend. It's Ando Ministries. You know him?
I know.
So I know him since 11-12 years. ठीक, वो ऑक्शन बेंचेस करते हैं, रॉब एंड ब्लू, राइट? मैंने उससे एक दिन पूछा, बैठे थे भाई, सो जस्ट ओके, कॉन्फ्रेंस में बोल रहा था, मैं सुन रहा था, उसको बोल रहा था, उससे भी बात हुई तो उसका मुझे बताया कि 3 तरह की इन्वेस्टमेंट से बात होती है, आमतौर पे जो इन्वेस्टर होता है, जो वेंचर कैपिटलिस्ट होता है, जो either invest in फाउंडर बड़ा जबरदस्त, ये बड़ा मेन कैच होता है हमारा, या फिर वी लुक फॉर मार्केट, ये बड़ी मार्केट है, करने वाला काम है, सब कर रहे हैं, इसमें इन्वेस्ट कर दो, कांट गो रॉन्ग, या फिर होती है इनोवेशन में इन्वेस्ट, जो बहुत ट्रिकी होती है, ठीक। He told me कि वो prefer करते हैं as venture capitalists, as Austin, they prefer the best marketing, और मेरा सब कुछ, Makes sense. Market बढ़ी है, करने वाला काम हम करेंगे. Not venture capital, but angel investment. Same question. Which verticals do you prefer? Which areas do you prefer? आप लोगों के criteria क्या है? आप लोगों के because ये कहना मुश्किल होगा कि यार मुझे तो जी logistics की space बड़ी पसंद है.
Sure.
उसमें invest करूँगा. ये तो बड़ी long shot है ना.
Yeah.
इसमें कौन बैठेगा? तो what is your preference as a boss?
It's a great question. और देखो शुरू में as angels हम थोड़े से लोग हैं इतनी ज़रूरत है नहीं. Right? It's not a bottomless pit. You know, we try to look for. It's not like इतनी बहुत बड़ी आपकी top of the funnel है. हजारों deals आ रही हैं. Right? Once you filter it down based on अच्छा founder अच्छा product. So we try to be more agnostic of that. Right? But lately I am very convinced कि मैंने जो invest करना है वो it should be something that you can also add value as an angel, right? अगर आप नहीं कर रहे, अगर आप नहीं करोगे, आप सीखोगे नहीं, तो फिर आप bad investments करोगे, right? Follow the key. So then it should be something to do with something that I know, which is engineering or software. उसके अंदर I know SaaS, उसके अंदर I know dev productivity. So अब मैं focus मेरा is around those things कि I'm gonna look at. And these are really, I mean, as I if you start now, in the next few years, you can actually build these tools and platforms. Every learning would be good. Every failure would be good, right? For me, the focus is on dev productivity, cloud, and pipeline. I'm going deep into the dev ecosystem. And that's the startup that I'm looking for, and that's the startup that I'm, bringing to it.
I think Abbas is much more active than me in diligence, right? Abbas was our time in diligence. Because it's the time you. I need to be inspired by the founding, not just the founder, but the founding team. अगर मैं founder से inspire हो गया तो मेरा कुछ call नहीं होता है यार अच्छा team कैसे बनाओगे या already कोई team में लोग हैं मेरे लिए because उसके बाद I kind of want to give them free hand. I don't have time to actively go deep. Us does that. I really admire him for that. Go deep dives करे उनके साथ देखे मेरा ये होता है कि यार speak you know the problem space when you're actually like you said you actually have an opportunity cost. So basically there is something to lose. Like nothing to lose when you keep going and there's something to lose. And then you have a decent team. So typically at that point I will put in some money and almost forget about it. So unlike a VC or angel का ये फर्क मुझे लगता है. The VC is not going to forget. No. वो तो आपको हर महीने वो आपसे statement भी मांगेगा, quarterly भी आपसे statements मांगेगा, वो देखेगा. And then if things are not going well, the VC is going to say, okay, wait a minute, I need to intervene and maybe get you a better team like Jenkins. So VCs are थोड़ी सी उसी में आ जाता है. I think Vas is more of a VC than I am. Or even everyone.
Let me ask you this very report को नहीं कर रहा live भी हो रहा है
that can be fixed.
live भी चल रहा है
Gone.
then they're fast between them पाकिस्तान में आप लोग बार ज्यादा घंटे में इस बात को स्पेसिफाई कर रहे हैं कि हम एंजल इन्वेस्टमेंट किस तरह हमने अपने आप को क्लियर कर दिया है पाकिस्तान में कि हमारे पास वेंचर कैपिटलिस्ट और some of them are our friends, know them, I know them. We always focus a lot on the startups and the founders not doing enough of that. Or at this point in time, मुझे पता है इस कमरे में ऐसे किसी से जो स्टार्टअप्स कर रहे हैं जो रेज करने वाले हैं इसका भी एक पॉइंट है. Sometimes we feel the venture capitalists, the Pakistani venture capitalists.
It doesn't have to be Pakistan. In fact, we keep coming back to it because it's so fresh in our memories, right? But I feel like that I fully buy the explanation. If we needed a good multi-stage VC for airlift. And again, multi-stage ही होता है. अच्छा एक stage करती है, multi-stage में भी I'll figure out how to help you finance. सारे single stage VCs थे पहला चेक लिखा, दूसरे चेक में कोल्ड फीट हो, right? With the exception of first round. First round was a kind of a multi-stage. They were not the Sequoias or the Liner Perkins.
The customers were
वो multi-stage है. उनकी patience इतनी thin नहीं. Generally startups की ये वाली जो anxiety और concern है ना कि यार investor की patience बड़ी thin है पाकिस्तान, वो है. वो कहीं तो मार देती है. Startup कंपनी बंद हो जाती है because वो कितना ज़्यादा anxiety होती है कि यार I'm going to lose my money, I'm going to lose my money. Or just your founders, they're just basically under so much pressure. Why? There is a space for multi-stage. लेकिन चलो कम से कम VCs आए हैं, जब हमने business start किया तो VCs concept में आपके कम से कम 10 VC होंगे.
right.
But at least like it's a journey, और उस journey में we made a lot of progress. Make more progress also. कुछ hits भी होंगी, कुछ unfortunately. I mean the world changed in the last 6-8 months, right? You know, Russia, Ukraine का crisis हो गया, markets ही change हो गई. Unfortunately, we found ourselves in a kind of all things considered, everything considered, Pakistan is making progress.
Now I'm coming to the question जो कि वो बार-बार आप जिक्र भी कर रहे हैं. Airlift का जो शटडाउन था, उसको 3-4 टकराव में अगर आप समझा सकें, फिर लोग जानना चाहते हैं हुआ क्या था, आपने मुश्किल ज़बान में नहीं समझाना. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't know if we're the best person to comment on it, right?
You guys have
We're angels. Yeah, we were angels in at the start.
एक funny चीज ये है कि I see a lot of people who had no stakes in the company. They're a lot more upset than us. मैं कुछ नहीं lose किया, एक पैसा भी नहीं lose किया, वो बड़े upset है कि यार ये क्या हो गया. And people who actually lost money are
all right with it.
All right with it, or you know, have made sense of it, or made their peace with it, or you know, they've kind of moved on. Because ये मुझे बड़ा funny लगता है.
ये clear करना. This is education. So what you have to let us know what exactly would have gone wrong. To assumption हो सकता है. And then it's not the end of the world. So how are the investors coping with it now? जिनका पैसा गया, जिनका टाइम जाया हुआ, क्या वो अब कहीं और लगाएंगे? क्या आप उन लोगों को हायर करना चाहेंगे फिर से, या उनको चाहेंगे कि वो और स्टार्टअप्स करें, जिन्होंने एयरलिफ्ट बनाई? Would you encourage that? Invest in them again? You know, these are questions that I have, and I'm sure people also have. So पहले बता दें जरा spicy bit. What happened? We don't know.
The spicy bit is that actually you know a lot more than we did, right? वो spicy bit जो है ना वो खबरों में हमने भी अक्सर करता. It's not like we had a lot of insider information. Look, that's the game of the game, right? We're not there to keep that level of checks and balances. We're not VCs, right? So angels get a different level of optics or khabrein compared to VCs who are somewhat along with it, you know, they're core drivers, right? This out there. Look, I mean, you know, we've been part of the journey और एक हमारी अच्छी direction रही है with the founders, with the founding team, and it's some of those principles which was very clear from day one, which stood them apart. Bias towards action, ना नहीं सुनना, you know, go-getter attitude, solve करनी है space, right? But we did invest in a different startup, right? Which was mass transit. We did not invest in quick commerce. Absolutely.
And not mostly.
Right. Same company, they pivoted, right? So the shares, it's not like they shut down Airlift and started a different company. So our investments were protected and they converted over. Because so this is a lesson for all of us, including, you know, Airlift founders. ठीक है, you know, आपको ना, it's very hard to predict the future. You can't write the future, right? Hindsight, अगर ये if they had raised money and they were build our company, we would not have you be like हाँ देखो क्या बात है जी, बहुत क्या आप लोगों ने शुरुआत में क्या investment की थी, किस तरह की हमने investment? On the flip side, right? I mean everything is good. Okay, I do believe the few failures, and I do believe in it. एक तो absolutely a multi-stage investor, they should have thought of it. यार अगर पैसे dry up हो जाएंगे, अगर हम raise कहाँ से करेंगे, क्या होगा, right? They need to have a access to different type of capital, right? So our pockets, but we're very thin, right? Of course, we're angels, but even people who come in at the seed level or post seed and Series A, they were very single stage as anything. And to Yasser's point, I mean, this is in the news, right? A lead investor, one of the lead investors in Pakistani, he still want to put in money, but because और कोई लोग साथ में आ रहे थे उनके, उन्होंने कहा भाई, if I were to put in money and that you're not even going to, it doesn't see you through the trench, then what's the point, right? So again, from a founding perspective, being able to plan some of these things, and so it's easier done. दूसरी, I do believe that looking is as much like एक होता है looking in the business or looking on the business. So in the business wala, to me, is where I find, and I don't know this, right? This is I'm assuming based on what's out there. कि हमारी जो अपनी operational efficiency है, what is my target? What's my path to, let's say, break even, right? Where are the big sort of gaps I need to plug? वो जो चीजें हैं ना, वो important है. You can't do all of this sitting at the top, but you see nubs and figuring out where the big opportunities are. You could have done that a little bit earlier, right? Challenge is when you're scaling, right? When you're scaling 10x, 20x, 50x a year, it's right. You have to give some of the commands that you adopt. You have to give command and control to other people and trust them. Right? So people scale. अब या तो मैं scale fast करूँगा या मैं उसको efficiency drivers लेकर आऊँगा. दोनों करना जो है ना, I've seen very few people in my life who were able to do both, right? And those are exceptional people, right? और इसके लिए मुश्किल होता है. So in my opinion, some of those practices, maybe like compliance or ये चीजें, operational efficiency पहले लेके आना, would have benefited. They could have given say कि now instead of 3 months or 6 months, we could do this in 2 months or 1.5, and yes, there's enough money to do that, right? I'm just saying hypothetically. That could have been the difference between life and death. So those are some of the things, lessons at least, on how to do it knowledgeably.
I think Abbas ne बहुत अच्छा sum up कर दिया है. The other big thing is that not only were they growing really fast, the investors were actually really rewarding. You can't forget that. Like they were just basically just pumping money into it like anything. हुआ ये कि investor भी कैसे पैसे डालता है, right? उसने Tesla और Apple और Microsoft को स्टॉक खरीदा होता है. जब ये US रशिया यूक्रेन वॉर, आपको पता है सारे मेजर स्टॉक्स ने अच्छे खासे डिप्स किए. इन्वेस्टर्स की अपनी बेल्ट जो है काफी टाइटन हो गई. Suddenly they said, oh, we are not going to give money for growth. We are now going to give you money for unit economics. आप एकदम से अगर गाड़ी आपकी 150 की कार पे जा रही है और आप एकदम से उसकी डायरेक्शन चेंज करेंगे तो क्रैश ही होगा. So that's actually what happened. Like they just tried turning the car fast from the growth path to the.
I'm assuming you were saying that hypothetically, right? Unit economics. Unit economics though never makes sense for Kareem or good for anyone. ये तो मॉडल में काम ही है. या वाकई ऐसा हुआ? नहीं, यूनिट इकोनॉमिक्स के ऊपर सवाल आ रहा है. आप कराएं यूनिट इकोनॉमिक्स जस्टिफाई करें.
Basically, the investor said that you need to show a path to profitability. Like the question changed from show me explosive growth. This is what I want. Show me explosive growth. They did explosive growth at any cost, right? Nobody was asking, hey, what is the cost for this explosive? Suddenly you should say, I need profitability. How are you going to go to profitability? That happened. That didn't happen just for it. पूरी दुनिया में जो VC की belt tighten हुई है पूरी दुनिया में हुई है. There was a quick commerce company in China funded by, I think Bessemer ने किया हुआ है, like बड़ी ना valuation came from $3 billion to $80 million, right? इस तरह पाकिस्तान की स्टोरी में बड़ी जगह पे ये चीज़ है. दुनिया change.
Yeah, when you
बस एक मुझे लास्ट उसके बाद आप ही कर.
when you looking at crazy multiples of 100x, of your 100x, right? And then which doesn't make any sense, and that is at a loss. Those companies then going to from there to let's say 5 or 8x. This is how you got okay, right?
But
there are the companies like Joker or Vera, trying to read many people, but उनकी भी ठीक ठाक, they lost like 70% of their valuation.
आप कर लो.
एयरलिफ्ट है जिसने उसने बिजनेस का पिवट किया अपनी बस सेलिंग से वो आई बिजनेस. तो इस तरह एक बिल्कुल आपने एक्सपेंशन की बात की कि उनके फेलियर का रीजन था एक बहुत बड़ा कि उन्होंने बहुत तेजी से ग्रोथ की. तो हम देखते हैं अगर यूके बेस्ड स्टार्टअप गोरिल्ला जो कि सेम लॉजिस्टिक्स पर काम करता है, तो उसने भी तो बहुत कम टाइम में उसने इन्वेस्टमेंट रेज करके तो उसने बहुत कम टाइम में ग्रोथ की. तो एयरलिफ्ट में ऐसी ग्रोथ में क्या मसला था, क्या उनके फाउंडेशन सही तरह से
गोरिल्ला कितने पैसे इसके थे? How much money did Gorilla raise?
बिल्कुल $1 billion.
Exactly. So if Airlift had $1 billion, do you think they would have been cut down? उस जमाने में था यही, people were raising it again. आप billion raise कर रहे हो at 10 billion, and Airlift matched the trajectory or exceeded, right? But they just couldn't get access.
तो ये चीज तो फिर फाउंडर्स को देखनी चाहिए थी कि हम अपनी लिमिट में रह के ग्रोथ करें, तो ऐसा उन्होंने क्यों उससे में सोचा?
hindsight में it looks like that, right?
ऐसा हुआ नहीं होगा.
हाँ, जब वो कर रहे थे ना
सोचा होगा. और
investors यही, I actually asked this question कि why is Airlift going to South Africa? Abbas को याद होगा मेरी meeting.
Yeah.
They said कि the investors are saying कि you can't be a one country startup and raise more money. Be a multi-country startup. वो investor ही आपको कह रहा है कि यार expand करो, पूरी दुनिया में expand करो, एक country से नहीं काम करना. अब वो एक expensive experiment था. लेकिन investor आपको reward कर रहा था. वो कह रहा था अच्छा जाओ और countries में will give you more money. And they said, oh no, sorry, the world has changed, so we can't. That happened. It's not to say that they have no responsibility. Like that, but don't get it wrong. Lekin I think the responsibility would be very different if the world had not changed also. If they had wasted all that money and the world was still the same, then you would put 100% of the blame.
तो अक्सर कंपनीज होती है वो कैश बर्न करती हैं स्टेज के ऊपर बहुत ज्यादा. जिस तरह मैं पहले भी बात करूंगा कि वो $50 to $60 million पर मंथ जो थे वो बर्न कर रहे थे. तो क्या इससे मजीद नहीं गोरिल्ला की बात, इससे मजीद हम इन्वेस्टमेंट करके जो फाउंडर्स थे वो मजीद इन्वेस्टमेंट फेस करके तो और कैश बर्न नहीं कर सकते थे अपने इस उनके पास अच्छी खासी मार्केट तो आ चुकी थी.
That's what they tried and failed. That's what they were trying. They were trying to do a much bigger round. वही तो नहीं हुआ. वो पहले वो नहीं हुआ. Then they tried to do like a smaller round, for which they got all the commitments, and this is like the also the public story. And then literally at the last minute, investors pulled out. So to this question again, I'm not supposed to be like the advocate. I've lost personal money, quite a lot of it. That personal money at one point had, I'm sure, touched a few $1 million in value. मेरी और बॉस के घर में लाए. So के लोग आप कहते हैं यार अच्छा हमें भी बताएं कैसे स्टार्ट करते हैं, राइट? बड़े लोग कहते हैं. अब वो कहते हैं यार आपको तो पता ही नहीं है, आप कहाँ इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, सारे पैसे जाया करते हैं. And this was a question that we asked earlier also. Startup investment is like this. You're going to invest in 15 companies. One of those 15 companies will become 30x its size. It will pay for the other 14 that will fail, right? अगर आपका ये risk profile नहीं है, ये risk appetite नहीं है, कभी startup में invest करो. Be ready for at least 6, 7, 8 out of 10 to fail. Fail कर जाएंगे, लेकिन अगर 2 successful हो गई, आपके सारे पैसे खुले.
एक क्वेश्चन मैं भी खत्म कर लूं फिर आप लोग लेते हैं. People say that कहा जाता है कि venture capital is a Ponzi scheme.
Yes,
it's a Ponzi scheme. So people think it's अभी तक भी they don't quite trusted in many regions of the world. Is it true? Is it something that's partially true, or should people just forget about this? ऐसा नहीं होता. मतलब और इसको समझाने के लिए मैं अपनी ऑडियंस के हिसाब से आपसे सवाल पूछूंगा. मुझे ये बता दें कि वेंचर कैपिटल पैसे कैसे कमाते हैं. आसान से मुझे 2-3 तरीके बता. हंस रहे आप. Ponzi scheme है constant लेकिन ना बता दे मुझे कि क्या
neither of us are, venture capitalists. I think we're just talking to the wrong.
You've spoken to them. I've seen you work with venture capitalists when you were at Mota.
Sure.
है ना कितना ज़्यादा back and forth चल रहा. तो क्या होता है ये? How does this play? Because not everyone understands this. जितना understanding clear नहीं होती clear होती ज़्यादा conspiracy theories बने. So maybe put this out there for them. On my last question. इसके बाद आप.
So I can't. I mean, I don't know if they said get Ponzi scheme or not, right? But venture capital, just like any sort of investment opportunity, right? They're not for profit. I think Yasser and I are probably running a non for profit for a long time. Hopefully that will change. We'll make some money. But venture capital covers simple side, right? I mean, first of all, they're not, unlike us, they're not using all of their money. So जो venture capital होता है जो आप fund put कर रहे होते हैं, यहाँ से keep me honest here, right? So my knowledge is a bit dated. आप as a somebody who's a general partner running the fund convinces you have to raise money, just like a startup raises money, you have to go and pitch to whoever wants to invest in your fund. Yeah, and these are typically called LPs, right? These are your limited partners. वो पैसे डालते हैं आप, कौन है वो क्या है वो और बात है. अब आप कैसा करते हो कि यार as a fund हमारा fund का profile ये है. We are going to invest this fund. Typically it's a multi-year 8-10 साल का होता है fund. And end of the fund में आप कहते हो यार हमारे we are going to return the money plus some on top. You get back to the original LPs, right? It's like obviously आप break even तो नहीं करोगे, आप ये कहते हो कि यार हम fund की जो भी life है 8-10 साल की उसके बाद आपको हम पैसे return करेंगे plus a lot of interest on that. Right? So that's how typically a fund works, and then you have to convince them why you, just like a startup does, right? And as a GP, you make money based on what's called administrative fee. 2% of the fund जो है ना वो आपके पास जा रहे होते हैं, and then there's a carry as well. Okay? And at the end of the fund, you get your money back. If the start is successful and you make a lot, there's additional costs that you get. As a fund manager, it's very difficult कि अगर आप एक बहुत छोटा fund कर रहे हो, 2% of the fund is not gonna run your kitchen. So that's why even in Pakistan, try to look for a $10 million fund that you have something. The rest is again Ponzi scheme or not Ponzi scheme. It's not. How is it very different than, let's say, playing the stock market or any other ones? Right? You're doing the best job that you can, and you're putting your reputation, and you're going and raising money, which is not, it's a difficult proposition, right? So, बात इस बार ये कि आप एक खेल तो वही रहे हो ना कि it's a Russian roulette, right? 100 इन्वेस्ट करोगे, शायद में से like maybe 1 or 2 of them will give you 1000x return. That's your hope. Right? It's very difficult to take some of the best funds or manage in the world. Nobody's saying every single one's going to be a winner. Nobody does. Yeah. So that's the quick answer.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, same. I think I don't think I would agree with the sweeping generic statement कि venture capital. अगर आप लोगों को उनकी investment में return नहीं देंगे, you'll miserably fail as a VC firm eventually. एक दो cycle से follow fail करते हैं. VC is responsible for अमेरिका को हम सारे look up करते हैं अमेरिका में कंपनियां. I think the VC ecosystem is pretty good. और जो सही वाले venture capitalists हैं बहुत they bring a lot to the table. एक example जो मैं हमेशा quote करता हूँ वो अब देखिए जो market recent है recent followers तो at the top of the world Netscape उसने बना के बेची $4 million बनाए, and then he wrote like a kind of a groundbreaking article in 2009 Wall Street Journal में उसने लिखा कि उसने कहा यार मैं बना रहा हूँ recent followers because I think in the next 10 years software is going to eat the world. Software is going to eat the world was market research, and he basically played that gamble कि यार ये मैं predict कर रहा हूँ, अब मैं कंपनियों को फंड करूँगा Airbnb टाइप को जो कि वाइप आउट करने लगी हैं बाकी existing businesses, and the gamble paid off. It's like a Abbas said, it's an asset class, it's a high risk asset class. उनके पास जो LPs की भी बात कर रहे हैं और एंड्रीसन इस केस में जीपी हो गया ना। एलपीज भी जो आ रहे हैं वो सारे पैसे एंड्रीसन में नहीं दे रहे होंगे, वो कहते हैं यार अच्छा हम कुछ पैसे स्टॉक मार्केट में डालते हैं, कुछ हम रियल एस्टेट में डालते हैं, कुछ हम ये वीसी को दे देते हैं, क्योंकि अपना डाइवर्सिफाई करने की कोशिश करें। बच्चे तो वो भी नहीं कि यार ये लोग पॉन्जी स्कीम में मेरे पैसे ले लो, दे नो कि यू नो अदर पीपल हैव मेड मनी एंड देयर इज अ रिस्क। पाकिस्तान में मसला ये है कि लोग कहते हैं कि यार सारी अपसाइड हो लेकिन रिस्क हो, ये तो नहीं हो सकता। अगर अपसाइड बड़ी है तो रिस्क भी बड़ा हो।
अभी भी डिफेंस में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं।
हाँ वो तो आई थिंक सो दैट आई
जब तक वो नहीं बदलेगा तो
it's a little harmful, I think, in my opinion, because it locks up your money and
why I keep consistent with this. Like I get those money educate on investment. But now the thing it looks the big to लगा आज 8 साल इतना भाई बात उन लोगों के वेंचर कैपिटल तब तक नहीं उठेंगे जब तुम्हारा
Yeah, but look at this. I mean, आप अगर मुझसे पूछे ना 5 साल पहले, तो I could have said यार ये लो, right? Now they're a lot more, right? सिर्फ हम नहीं हैं जो पाकिस्तान बैठे हुए, बहुत सारे expats हैं जो कर रहे हैं, even mid-level managers, senior managers, directors. Now they are the people with money who want to take some of these risks and even get back to Pakistan. तो बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे हैं, like they will probably be in now, more than 100 people. Who are on the angel seed और वो कर रहे होते हैं, they make these investments, right? फ्लिप साइड पे ये भी हुआ है कि पहले आपके पास वही थे VCs जो कि फैमिली मनी थी, right? They were traditional, probably they were more PE than this, but now it's not the same. और आप देखो आप अगर 8-10 जो भी हैं, बहुत सारे उनके प्रोग्रेसिव हैं, they understand, they've been operators as well, they've backed up companies, they've built companies. The scene has changed now. It's not like, oh, okay, सब हो गया है, but it's changed drastically.